Yeah, so diligence sits with me as a primary responsibility, but I will pull in the right partners who fit that specific organization as part of that process. So if I've got a software deal, I've got investors that have been investing in software for 10, 15 years. So I'll bring them in as part of the process to help me with diligence and get them to bring some industry insight. Equally, if it's more of a services business, I've got other investors that's their expertise and they can come in and support there. And then I need to take the investors on a journey with me. And so when we're thinking through valuations, how do we think about what this company's worth? What's our value creation strategy for it moving forward? I'm looking to make it more of a collaborative process as we go through that. I'm the one driving it, but I'm pulling in the right people to make sure we're evaluating it in a sensible way. I've got a high net worth individual that sits on my board that's focused on value creation and talent development. So I'll bring him in often kind of closer to the end of diligence and think through what does our value creation plan look like in detail, and how are we thinking about the skills and talents that we need in the organization to go from here all the way up to here. And that's really important, that each investor kind of plays a role as part of that process. And ultimately, they feel confident in the deal in the way that I feel, because they're the ones who are going to be funding the acquisition once we get to that stage. When it comes to kind of culture and evaluating people and strategy directly, this is really hard to do during diligence, because often, as many of your listeners will resonate with, we only have so much information. And often that information is all being channeled through one person, the seller of the business. We don't have access to customers at the beginning of the process. We certainly don't have access to employees sometimes until the day after the transition happens. It just depends on how the owner is approaching that sale and how open he or she is choosing to be with their employees as part of that process. And there's not a right or wrong way for them to approach that. Both have their risks that come with it. So I like to start with the owner and just observing how they talk about the organization, how they've made various different decisions when it comes to people and hiring and firing, whether they've been intentional about building a culture in a certain direction, whether there are values or behaviors that they hold up as things that we do as a company and ways that we act as an organization. And then how do they speak about each of their employees? So if there's a set of key employees, maybe 5 or 6, maybe they're part of the management team, maybe they're just a techie who built half of the product, so they're just really key to an organization. I'll often spend at least 30, 40 minutes as part of diligence, just walking through that employee's journey with the organization, understanding what's important to them, what their priorities are, how they fit within the organization, how they connect with the other employees, and what the owner thinks is important to them.